Hello guys, welcome to episode 43 of our Aston Martin Save. Now, if you didn't watch the last episode, go back and watch it. We were on for a historic win at the United States Grand Prix, but unfortunately, Pierre Gasly couldn't quite do it. He binned it when he was leading the Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso managed to rescue a P7. He wasn't on the optimal strategy in the end. The safety car didn't play into Fernando's hands, but he did gain some decent points towards the end. As a result of that, car-wise, we've got some missing car parts on Pierre's car as he smashed the chassis, easy for me to say, smashed the chassis to bits. So that's been manufactured. In terms of car parts development, we have got some ongoing projects going on now. All the focus now is on next year's car. So we've got underfloor, front wing and rear wing research. We've got minor technical changes to all the car parts for next season, but hopefully being a bit proactive will mean that we start next season with a very decent car indeed. Now on to this weekend's Grand Prix, and it is the Mexican Grand Prix. This Autodromo Jimenez Rodriguez, I said that very easily. You can tell I'm part Mexican. I'm absolutely not. Right, 71 laps round here, 1963, the first Grand Prix. Valtteri Bottas holding the lap record. It won't surprise me if he beat that today because he's been very, very quick this season. Car attributes, low speed cornering, we're pretty decent at, and we're also pretty decent in the high speed sections as well, so possibly a decent race to come. Fernando's got a new engine in as well, but no grid penalties, so I'm excited to see that. Expected strategy is a one-stop medium onto hard. This year in real life, George Russell really struggled with the hard compound tyre on the Mercedes, so something we'll have to monitor throughout the weekend. Very excited for this one. I'm going to get all the practice done and we'll see you in Mexico for the Mexican Grand Prix.
Music is in the air this weekend, but it's not mariachi we'll be hearing. It's going to be the roar of the engines and the cheers of the crowd. Formula One is back in the very heart of Mexico City at the Autodromo Jimenez Rodriguez. This is an exhilarating circuit on the Formula One calendar. We'll be sure to see plenty of battles and overtaking this weekend, especially with the help of not one, not two, but 3 DRS zones. With the season nearly concluded, time is running out for the teams. Can anyone make a last-minute breakthrough? Can the leading drivers hold on? Only time will tell. There's nothing like a race weekend in Formula One.
Final flying laps in Q2. We've had some very, very good pace this weekend, and I'm going to make a bold prediction. I think Fernando Alonso is going to win the Mexican Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso qualifying 7th. It may look a very bold prediction. He's got a new engine in. I've just got a funny feeling. If you remember back to last season, we nearly had the greatest win ever with Sebastian Vettel on the last lap here in Mexico. Pierre Gasly is yellow through the first and second sector, so Pierre Gasly not improving. However, has done enough to get through, but look at the grid penalties in front of us. Sainz, Perez, Verstappen, Leclerc. It's only going to be the 2 Mercs, which we're going to have to really do battle with at the front of the grid, I would imagine. And we're not massively far off them. We're only a 10 for 2. So I've got a funny feeling that we could have a very, very good result this weekend. But let's see how we get on in qualifying 3. And here we go, the final laps in Q3, final couple of corners for Fernando Alonso, currently down in P8 on a brand new set of soft compounded tyres. He's not had a very good lap. A little bit scruffy from Fernando. Is he going to improve? He isn't. He's still going to stay P8, providing Lando Norris can't improve too much, but one man who is improving is Pierre Gasly, green through the first and second sector, currently sitting in P7. Pierre Gasly crosses the line and only improves by around a couple of thousandths of a second. Hamilton and Russell, 5th and 6th. So it may prove once the engine penalties, if we just fast forward to the end now and let's have a look at the grid. Sergio Perez still yet to finish, has finished his lap. But Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, it is just going to be Hamilton and Russell. And we'll see when we get to the strategy screen exactly what position we're going to be starting in. Let's have a quick look as we go through. So we're going to be starting 3rd and 4th, so it is going to be just the 2 Mercedes in front of us. So strategy wise, let's have a little look at this because we've been flirting with the idea of starting on the soft compounded tyre. I think that may suit us. We're not going to go for the 2-stop. We have both got fresh soft compounded tyre, and I'm hoping, although it is a bit cloudy, we're not going to see any rain. I'm hoping we can make these soft compounded tyres last. So we are going to start on the softs and maybe go soft to medium depending on what we can do. If we have a look at the race strategy here, this is going to be what? Lap 23. So if we had a new strategy starting on soft, 23. If we switch to the mediums, if we can stretch that out a little bit, we might be able to get to mediums. But both cars starting on the soft compounded tyre. Let's get to 5 red lights and get underway here in Mexico.
What will happen next? We're about to find out at the Mexican Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go. Is this going to be a sign of things to come when both our cars are at the front of the grid at the start of next season? Pierre Gasly, he's straight away attacking. He's got George Russell on his inside, Hamilton on the outside, but Pierre Gasly's the man looking to make a move. Both our guys on the soft compound tyres, both Mercedes on the medium. We want to be making moves early doors in this race. We're going to tell Pierre Gasly to go, use that overtake and see if he can get past one of the Mercs. I've got a feeling we're going to be very, very quick early doors in this race. Pierre Gasly can't quite get the move done into turn 4, but still lurking behind the 2 Mercedes drivers. So it is as we start, Hamilton from Russell, then comes Gasly, Alonso, Norris and Ricciardo. Look at the improvement in the McLarens, doing so well later on in this season. Then comes Ocon, Bottas, Magnussen, Vettel again with the Alpine making up the top 10. But I'm hoping we can make some moves on these Mercedes, because from Pierre Gasly's point of view, he's got this soft compounded tyre. Can he make it pay early doors? Lap 1. You join us. Pierre Gasly has just done one of the best bits of driving I've seen an Aston Martin driver do. Firstly, he got past George Russell, but then he carried the move on. He carried on round the outside of the Mercedes into the next corner. And as you come back to us, if they were enjoying that overtake in the Aston Martin garage, I'll tell you something, they'll have enjoyed the next one, because now this Mercedes is behind Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly leads the Mexican Grand Prix, not by too much. He's having to defend here from George Russell. I think George Russell's possibly going to get him into the stadium section. He does, but Pierre Gasly, my word, what a bit of driving that was to really put the cat amongst the pigeons. He could do with DRS down the start-finish straight. Is he going to get it? I'm not sure which one of them is. Hopefully, Pierre Gasly gets it here. He could be absolutely away. Pierre Gasly, let's have a quick look. Which rear wing is going to open? It is going to be that of the Mercedes, but he's staying with him all the way. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso, he's looking at this from behind, coming on the inside of Lewis Hamilton. Will Fernando go for a move? He doesn't. Lewis Hamilton tries to cut back across, but can't quite make it pay. But Pierre Gasly has got the chance here. He's lurking behind George Russell. Is he going to manage to get the move done here? He's not. And Lewis Hamilton, despite having the DRS and Pierre Gasly not, can't quite get the job done. We'll have a switch to Lando Norris, who's locked up into turn 1, just locked up that rear left tyre. That's going to cost Lando Norris a lot of time. And to be fair to the McLarens, they've been very, very quick. But this battle for first is going all the way, I think, all the way to the end. Pierre Gasly 6 attempts back now. Has used a bit more of his ERS, but Fernando is lurking. Lap 5. Lap 6, similar story. Pierre Gasly overtakes George Russell, but he does get that double helping of DRS, what you get around here in Mexico. So as he's gone on to the next straight, his DRS, his rear wing was open. He's been told to use the ERS as well to see if he could possibly burn away from George Russell. That was the plan. He's still using it. If he can get away from George Russell, that really would set Pierre Gasly up for a hell of a race here. He's using that ERS. We can see on the left-hand side, he's broke the 1 second. Is George Russell, let's just keep an eye on George Russell. Is he going to get to use this rear wing, this DRS here? I don't think he's going to do. This could mean that Pierre Gasly has checked out, and he certainly has. Pierre Gasly has checked out, now leads convincingly the Mexican Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso, the time is now yours, my friend. Lap 6. You join us as Fernando Alonso is attacking both Mercedes into the stadium section on lap 8. What driving this is. He's having a real ding-dong battle with these two. He looks like he's just got in front of Lewis Hamilton, which is fantastic work. And we know what's coming next. We know what's coming next. Now he can attack George Russell down this start-finish straight. He's moving to the inside line. It's Fernando Alonso. He's got that ERS. He's got the DRS. And now we've seen this before. We know what this can do. If he can break the DRS of this Mercedes, catch up to his teammate, the world is our oyster. The world is our oyster. Straight away, Fernando, he's got this DRS open. If we have a little look from the rear view camera, the two Mercedes are battling. This could be the chance for Fernando to, just like his teammate, try and check out of this race a little bit. He's already pulled around 8 tenths to George Russell. He's catching his teammate, but he might get a helping of DRS here, Fernando Alonso. He's using the ERS. He's broke the 1 second gap to George Russell, and what he's also managed to do is catch Pierre Gasly a little bit as well. I'm hoping he's going to get the DRS of his teammate. He is, and that will only aid him further. Meanwhile, George Russell hasn't got DRS. It's now Aston Martin 1-2, and the two Mercedes have got to fight it out between themselves. We've been here before. We know what we've got to do. We will tell Fernando not to fight his teammate. Lay off on the tyres a little bit, Fernando, and let Pierre Gasly drag you along a little bit. But moving on to lap 10, Aston Martin 1-2 here in Mexico, and a new fastest lap for Fernando. I can't even tell you all the good news in these little segments. Lap 10, multiple car crash when we least needed it. My word, it's one of the Haas. It looks like he's going into the back of the Ferrari. He is, and that is a big smash for the Haas. The Ferrari's going to have damage. This doesn't play into our hands. We just negotiate. I mean, let's have a look at the Ferrari garage, because they are in despair in the Ferrari garage. But my word, let's have a little look at this, because if we just pause this a second and just have a little look at what's happening, we had pulled out a 2 second gap over the Mercedes. We were harvesting the RS, looking after the tyres, and it's absolutely shafted us. Safety car, we'll have a look at what options we've got here with pit stops. It might be a little bit too early. But yeah, absolute sickener. Lap, what is this? Lap 11. So here we go then, safety car restart. Pierre Gasly leads us away. Fernando Alonso, his teammate, following closely behind him. It will have helped us prolong our soft compound stint. So we may be able to stay out a little bit longer than what we would have done previously, which will help with the hard compound tyres later on in the race. We've probably got another couple of laps extra out of the tyres. It were a shame, because we just built that 2 second lap, as we said. But the idea may be now for Fernando Alonso and Pierre Gasly to deploy and get away from the cars behind before DRS is enabled. Use the tyres. If we have a look at the tyres, yes, the mediums are wearing a lot better than the soft, but our guys have done a decent job so far of managing the tyres and managing the race. If we can drop these Mercedes cars before DRS is enabled, that would be absolutely ideal. The gap that we are looking at is this gap here on the left hand side between Fernando Alonso and Lewis Hamilton. They're using all the DRS they possibly can. They're being aggressive on the fuel to break the DRS of Lewis Hamilton. If we manage that, it's basically as you were, lap 14. Crucial moments, lap 16, we did manage to break the DRS of the two Mercedes cars. 1.5 seconds now. Alonso from Hamilton, and it's the same old. Pierre Gasly's been told use the tyres, use the fuel. Fernando Alonso's been told use the DRS. Obviously Pierre Gasly will come in a lap earlier than Fernando. Don't attack Pierre at the moment. It wouldn't benefit your race, Fernando. Keep with it. Keep using this DRS. Lewis Hamilton is not getting any of it. And George Russell, his teammate, can't seem to catch him at this moment in time either. So we're getting an extra heap of horsepower down these long straights. And as you can see, it's already gone up by half a second in the time that I've been rambling on during the commentary. Lap 17, it's looking pretty promising here in Mexico for Aston Martin. And one man who is not having a good afternoon is Lando Norris. We've seen this a little bit this season. He's just spun again. It's not going well for Lando Norris. The qualifying would suggest otherwise. But Lando Norris at this moment in time, at the back, P18 and 19 is Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc through no fault to his own after that earlier incident with Kevin Magnussen. Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher at the back as well. There's two Ferraris in the bottom 10 at the moment, which is all good news for Max Verstappen, the golden boy at Red Bull, who could make a serious impression on the standings at this moment in time. Lap 17. Lap 20, strategy change for Pierre Gasly. As you can see, Fernando Alonso is going to stay out. His tyres have got a little bit more in them, and we've been harvesting a little bit as well. But Pierre Gasly is in from the lead of the Grand Prix. He's going on to a 2-stop. He's got 2 fresh sets of medium compounded tyre. So Pierre Gasly is in for his pit stop. His first of 2 pit stops this afternoon. I think there is an option for a two-stop here with Pierre, and I think we may reap the rewards from this as well. So he's in. We were going to do it on the safety car, but we missed the pit exit. We couldn't react quick enough where we were stationed on the track. Pierre is going to come out around P18, I was told. We were trying to get him in some clear air to use his tyres, and in clear air he certainly is. Pierre Gasly's out in P15. He can now use his tyres. He's got another pit stop to go. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso is now sandwiched between these two Mercedes, and there's been a crash on track, or a spin. Lewis Hamilton spun. It's not brought out a safety car. That should have knackered his tyres up, surely. He's down to 68%. How has Lewis Hamilton somehow managed to keep the lead after that? Unbelievably lucky, I think we've got to say that is. Fernando Alonso now, I can't believe how lucky Lewis Hamilton's been there. He's going to just go straight onto the hard. It's Fernando Alonso, but Pierre Gasly, like I say, on the mediums, he could play a big team part here, Fernando, or he might be on the more optimal strategy, depending on how things play out. But lap 21, Pierre Gasly got the time to use these tyres now. He can use these. And Fernando Alonso still in P2, holding onto the back of Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton is in from the lead of the Grand Prix on the medium compounded tyre. Fernando Alonso is now the race leader, and he has got DRS, so he's now effective leader of the Grand Prix. If this is a good lap for Fernando Alonso, we might be able to pit at the same time as the Mercs. He might as well battle with the Mercedes all afternoon. All these pit stops are falling right into the hands of Pierre Gasly, and Pierre Gasly has significantly jumped Lewis Hamilton. Of course, he's got another pit stop to go, but that might have proved an absolute masterstroke for Pierre Gasly. Fernando Alonso now has got George Russell to worry about. I think this is the pit lap. This is possibly the pit lap for Fernando Alonso. He's going to be coming in this lap onto the hard compounded tyre, and we'll go from there. Lap 23. Fernando is into the pits, as is George Russell. Max Verstappen takes the lead of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen yet to pit on the medium compounded tyre now. This is the interesting bit. Mercedes at the start of the pit lane, Aston Martin at the end. We need a good pit stop, boys. Can we get it? Oh, compounded tyre is on. And he's been jumped in the pits. How disappointing is that for Fernando? I would be absolutely livid, and I'm sure he is. Pierre Gasly is going to come out behind Lando Norris, and Fernando Alonso is going to come out behind George Russell. So Fernando Alonso, and he could also lose a bit of time to the Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton, is he going to cut across? He is. Fernando Alonso, use deploy.
Can use energy.
He could lose a couple of positions here, Fernando Alonso. He's been told to use deploy. The Ferrari of Carlos Sainz has got DRS. What are we looking at tyres-wise? Sainz has got to stop again. Norris has got to stop again. Important then for Fernando to catch up to the back of George Russell. And meanwhile, Pierre Gasly all the time using these medium compounded tyre. He's now on the back of Alexander Albon, and both cars in front of Pierre Gasly have got to stop again. Nice position for Pierre to be in, and Fernando Alonso is at the moment just about catching up to George Russell. Has he managed to get DRS? He has, and hopefully Carlos Sainz can hold up Lewis Hamilton. That would be the ideal. As Fernando Alonso comes through the stadium section, it's all about getting onto the back of George Russell now for Fernando Alonso. Alex Albon is in the pit. Pierre Gasly will overtake Alex Albon and now go third on track. It's all happening here in Mexico. And Fernando Alonso, is he going to get DRS? He should do, and he is. We're going to set him back to neutral. He's having to use the tyres a little bit. We'll push on the fuel and go from there. All happening here in Mexico. And continuing this trend, Fernando Alonso, he's got Lewis Hamilton in his mirrors, but George Russell made a move on Lando Norris to get past him. Fernando Alonso had got to make the move to get it done. He did get the move done. Fantastic work from Fernando. Is he quite going to get the DRS of George Russell? I'm not convinced he is. And both cars behind are going to get a double helping of DRS down this next straight. Lap 28, you join us back. Max Verstappen has done very, very well. He's had a pit stop and come back out in front of Lewis Hamilton. Alonso's now back on the back of Lewis Hamilton as well, so that's going well for him. Pierre Gasly 2 seconds behind Esteban Ocon, who is now pitting. So Pierre Gasly takes the race lead. 86% tyres on these mediums, a safety car. Basically, I think Pierre's got it in the bag. Fernando Alonso, a little bit of work to do. Can't seem to keep pace with these two cars in front. He's having a real battle to try and keep up with Lewis Hamilton. He's actually lost DRS down this straight, so this is big problems for Fernando Alonso. Maybe it'll come to him a little bit later on in the race, but he can't seem to keep pace with the Merc and the Red Bull at this moment in time. Lap 29. Just a little update, lap 34, Pierre Gasly still leads Max Verstappen by 6.5 seconds. Fernando Alonso, he's dropped away from the Mercs, but he's now latching onto the back of Sergio Perez. He's just harvesting a little bit of ERS as well, so we're just playing it a little bit safer with Fernando. We're in for the long game. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint with Fernando. And Perez, to be fair, is drawing him a little bit closer to Lewis Hamilton, who has had a lock-up, and he's now 3.5 seconds behind George Russell. So this is the battle for basically effective P1 once Pierre Gasly pits again. Pierre Gasly, he's doing a fantastic job at the moment. We just had a little push there for a few months' time. He's coming in and around sort of, what, 5 to 8 laps time. Safety car would be ideal for Pierre Gasly. Probably ideal for Fernando Alonso as well, because the hard compound tyres are not working as well on our Aston Martin. Lap 35. Lap 44, Pierre is in for his final pit stop now. Where is this going to bring him out? This is the key point in this race. We were hoping for a safety car. It's not quite come, but we are going to be on a much fresher, faster tyre for the next few laps. I'm thinking he's going to come out somewhere around Ricciardo and Bottas. Ricciardo and Bottas are on the back of Vettel. We could do with Gasly coming out in front of this little gaggle of cars, and he certainly has. But Pierre Gasly, P6, 8 seconds behind his teammate. Fresh medium compounded tyre. Hammer time for Pierre, lap 44. And would we expect any less? New fastest lap for Pierre on those tyres. He's caught Fernando by about 1.5 seconds that lap. Anything could be possible here. I'm thinking P4 and P5 for both our cars would be a lovely way to do it. Lap 46, looking very good. Max Verstappen, what a race this man's having. And if you have a look at the tyres, he's got much better tyres than George Russell. I think it's going to be the Dutchman's day in Mexico, and the Red Bull will enjoy that. And Sergio Perez, P4 as well. Very good day for Red Bull. If we just have a quick look at the competitive standings, what all this is meaning for the title is Max Verstappen, drivers-wise, is gaining 25 points on Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz having a poor race. This brings Max Verstappen right back in the fold for the drivers' title, and constructors-wise as well. This brings Red Bull right back in it. Ferrari are having a mare here in Mexico. Oh my goodness. Hamilton and Perez, lap 50, have just pit for new tyres. Hamilton's now 12 seconds behind Alonso, but Pierre Gasly is in front of Alonso. Obviously, we told Fernando don't fight it, which is what the idea was. They're on different races. There's no point in fighting it. Hamilton's now 12 seconds back. He's going to have the fresher tyre towards the end, but 12 seconds is a lot. And now I'm looking at George Russell thinking, are you going to pit? And he certainly is. George Russell is in for Mercedes on lap 51. That is a very interesting strategy from the Mercs. I thought they were going to the end, but apparently not. They think the tyres aren't going to last. Fernando Alonso then, this brings into question what should we be doing with Fernando Alonso. The idea for me would be we now let Pierre Gasly drive off into the sunset, and unfortunately for Fernando, and he's had this a couple of times during this season, he may have to be the blocker for his teammate Pierre Gasly. I'm guessing Max Verstappen's going to the end. He must be going to the end, Max Verstappen. I'd be amazed if he didn't. But now it's all eyes on Fernando Alonso and what he can do to hold up this Mercedes. Lap 51 and lap 54, that's happened. George Russell has managed to get past him, but as we know now, double helping of DRS for Fernando. Is he going to manage to get back at George Russell? This is the key point. I mean, if we look at the gap between Hamilton and Gasly, that's about, what, 9 seconds? But Fernando Alonso, he's going to get the DRS on this straight. He's also going to get the DRS on this next straight. And just to be a little bit annoying, we're going to give him the ERS to use as well. So we're going to switch from Fernando's point of view here. And Fernando Alonso, he's just got to be a nuisance. That's all he's got to do here. Just stick him with George Russell. That's all he needs to do. And that will greatly help his teammate, Pierre Gasly, who's 17 seconds back from Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen pitting again? I can't see it. If there's a safety car, we box for softs. we've got all these permutations that we can do. And Pierre Gasly as well, he's going to get a nice little helping of DRS in a little moment or two from Charles Leclerc. We're going to be lapping our Ferrari. Not a good day for the Scuderia at all, but not a bad one for us. And Fernando Alonso, unfortunately, just dipping out of the DRS zone here. Is he going to manage to get it? Give him a little bit of deploy. I don't think he's got it. I don't think he's got it, and that could be crucial. Let's have a little look. Is this rear wing going to open for Fernando? He's using the deploy. Is it going to open? No. Fernando has lost DRS, and that allows George Russell now to chase after Pierre Gasly with 10% better tyres. You didn't really help him there, Fernando. You really didn't.
Now,
George Russell, lap 56, has just done this, and I can't stop laughing. Oh dear, Georgie boy, oh dear. And that means that he's gutted, he's not even looking. And what that really means for us is that now Pierre Gasly has got a 7-second gap to Fernando Alonso, who's now got a 2-second gap to Lewis Hamilton. Yes, Fernando Alonso's going to the end, that's fine. But Fernando Alonso now, the job is simple. Hold up the cars behind, and Pierre Gasly, just pray that Max Verstappen pits. If Max Verstappen pits, Pierre Gasly wins. It's as simple as that. Unbelievable things, lap 57. Unfortunately, Lewis Hamilton did catch up to Fernando Alonso, and he's not been able. He held him up down the start finish straight, to be fair to him. He did very well there, but Lewis Hamilton did get past with that double bout of DRS that you do get round here. So Fernando Alonso does lose the place to Lewis Hamilton. He's now in P4. He's got 2 seconds to George Russell, Lewis' teammate. He is using deploy on the ERS, but I simply don't think that we can match these tyres. Now, Fernando Alonso is going to have a long end to this race. I'm possibly looking at P6, P7. So anyway, down there, that's the issue. But 8 seconds now is the gap from Pierre to George Russell. So something to bear in mind there. It's all looking all right. It's all looking all right. We're still looking at Max Verstappen thinking, are you going to pit? And at this moment in time, the answer to that question is a resounding no. Lap 59. Oh dear, Fernando looked up. He didn't even take George Russell with him, which is the disappointing thing about all this. It's not prompted a safety car. It's not prompted a safety car, which is good as well. We just have got a yellow flag. He's going to come back on the circuit, probably in the position that you suggest he may have finished in anyway, in P6. He's just got to obviously stave off Danny Ricciardo now, but that should be pretty much it for Fernando Alonso. We're going to shift him onto light tyre mode. The gap that we're all watching is this gap between Lewis Hamilton and Pierre Gasly. Hopefully, Gasly can hold off here. We are going to start pushing on the fuel a little bit with Pierre, just to sort of stave this off, because we don't want Lewis Hamilton to catch up to us if we possibly can. Lewis Hamilton has got a couple of bike markers to get to deal with as well. So Pierre Gasly all on this man now to keep this gap. Tyre wear 10% better in Lewis Hamilton's favour. 10 laps to go. It's lap 65, virtual safety car is out. If it had been a full core safety car, it's Guan Yu Zhou. I'm amazed it's not a full core safety car. At the moment, it is only virtual. Looking at the interval, it's about a 15-second time loss from a virtual safety car. It didn't make sense for Pierre at all. We're just about holding off Lewis Hamilton, so that's fine. Fernando Alonso, we considered, but really, is he going to gain much? I'm not convinced he is, so it don't make sense. It's just whether Max Verstappen might fancy it, which he doesn't. But Pierre Gasly now, we're just waiting to go green again. We've still got the fuel to use. We've still got the ERS. We've got 5 seconds. 5 to go and 4 seconds. 5 to go and 5 seconds for Lewis Hamilton to make up on Pierre Gasly. We'll come back when we're back to green flag running. Back to green flag running, lap 68. And to be fair, 4 laps to go. 4 seconds is a hell of a lot, and we've got the ERS to use as well. We may use that ERS at some point, especially if Lewis Hamilton gets within sort of 2 seconds. We'll be using that ERS all the way to the end. It's a similar situation to what happened in Austin, Texas. Can Pierre Gasly just keep his cool this time, keep the brakes cool, and get to the end and get a very famous... We do very well around Mexico. It's quickly becoming one of my favourite tracks as team principal. 3 laps to go, 4 laps to go. Let's get this P2 and let's get this podium. Final few corners, Max Verstappen, what a drive it's been for the young Dutchman today. Fantastic work, puts him right back in the Drivers' Championship, and Max Verstappen crosses the line for a victory here in Mexico, but 11 seconds behind, coming through the stadium section, managed beautifully. What a drive it has been for Pierre Gasly, crosses the line. It's P2 for Aston Martin, and then Fernando Alonso will just speed it up a little bit, get him towards the end. And Fernando Alonso coming around the final few corners from the stadium section. Great work from him. We're very, very happy here on the Aston Martin pit wall. Only Sebastian Vettel scores points for Alpine. It's been a bad weekend for Ferrari, but a very, very good weekend for Red Bull, and a very, very good weekend for the Aston Martin team. Fernando Alonso happy with the result. Pierre Gasly ecstatic. We're going to get to see a podium cutscene. Let's just finish through there and have a look now. Coming out of the car, we don't do this a lot, we don't get to always have a look at this, but we're getting out of the car. Pierre Gasly in P2. P2. Fantastic work from him. We'll just turn this up a little bit and watch what Karun's got to say, and David Croft.
This is a tremendous podium result. It's joy all around for the team.
What scenes? Verstappen, Hamilton and Gasly.
The Frenchman was in sublime form today, fully deserving of his podium finish here.
What scenes? What scenes? Pierre, P2 for Aston Martin.
But remember, it's not just
This
about
is a great
today's
course,
trophies, it's the points that can make all the difference.
See, we can all be friends, can't we, Max and Lewis? We
Today,
can all be
Aston
friends.
Martin demonstrated that they can go very far indeed.
The whole team was absolutely on their game today, and the result proves that.
And after this result, the team is fourth in the constructor standings.
Coming up in the next round is the Sao Paulo Grand Prix as we head to Brazil. Join us next time at Interlagos.
And there we go, Karun Shandok doing my job for me. We're into Interlagos next. Max Verstappen gaining 14 positions on the one stop. But Pierre Gasly only gained one position, but what a position it was. P2, Lewis Hamilton third, Sergio Perez gaining 14 positions. Red Bull, what a weekend for them. George Russell in P5, probably only himself to blame. He would have been in P2 despite that lock-up. But them's the breaks. We saw it on our last episode where Pierre were going to win that in Texas, but didn't quite. Carlos Sainz actually recovered quite well in the end to get to P7. Vettel a Ricciardo 9 from Valtteri Bottas, the flying Finn in P10. Driver standings wise, now we've got Pierre Gasly in P7, Fernando Alonso P8. Fernando Alonso puts a nice bit of daylight between himself and Esteban Ocon, which is nice to see. Valtteri Bottas keeps P10. Carlos Sainz just picked 6 points up, but it's now only a 16-point gap to Max Verstappen with 2 races to go. It's all going down to the wire. Constructor standing wise, I think that's it for Alpine. Unfortunately, they've not managed to really make a fist of it for P4. P4 in the constructors compared to where we were this time last year. Ferrari, I've got around a 52-point lead from Red Bull in P2, so it's 1 of 2 for P1. And that's about it, really. Mercedes settled in P3. Poor old Williams, who are going to be having a new title sponsor next season, are the rumours in the paddock. Williams down in P10. I hope you've enjoyed that. My God, we enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix, don't we? Have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!